Alright folks, so as part of my DC watch-along, I am of course reviewing Wonder Woman 84, the last film in this watch-along before the Snyder Cut. So let's get into it. I should preface this, if you saw my Birds of Prey video as well, with the fact that I watched this video when it came out, so December, so keep that in mind. I did not rewatch it for this review, and my thoughts are still relatively fresh, so I think they're trustworthy, but I could have forgotten some things, could have missed some things, always possible. I will say that I do, of course, remember the ridiculously long opening, or should I say 2 openings, which of course was a common complaint, but for a good reason, because it was ridiculous that either the studio or Patty Jenkins, I think it was Patty Jenkins probably, if I remember reading, that the studio asked her to cut out one of them, and she insisted on both to pad this runtime out, which was already far too long. But of course we don't need the little training sequence and the mall sequence, because neither of them are very integral to the story, and they are both very boring. And I dare I say, well, actually, you know, the first one is well executed, but the mall scene is a joke, in terms of, I mean, camera movements, in terms of tone, and this is like the only scene in the movie where they really throw it in your face that you're in the 80s. Wow, guys, this is the 80s. Nice nostalgia tactic. Did not work to distract from the incredibly boring 2 opening scenes. I'm just going to go through the actors here. I'll say Gal Gadot is, of course, a great Wonder Woman. Again, she was, I think, better in the first film, obviously, but nothing wrong with her performance here. Chris Pine, plays, you know, I don't think their chemistry is as good as it was in the first one, just because when you're always meeting someone new in those sort of films, it is better, but he's good. But again, I don't feel like his character should have come back, because it hurts that sort of emotional way from the first one, and it's not very interesting. They don't do a lot with that dynamic here, especially when he's gone at the end of this film as well. You have Kristen Wiig, who I actually quite liked. I thought she was good in the movie as Cheetah, even though the character was horrible. I think her performance might have been the best out of the cast, even though, again, her character was one of the worst, but the worst character, and unfortunately the worst actor of the 4 main has to be Pedro Pascal. Now, I love Pedro, not worst actor in general, mind you. He's definitely the best out of this 4 on an average basis. Well, I don't know if I'm going to say that with certainty, but he's an amazing actor outside of this movie. There's the one role that I've seen that I do not like him in, because he is way overacting. Now, you might say that's the character, that's the script. Maybe, but his performance reflects that. So while he might be doing a good job, I did not enjoy watching him do this ridiculously over-the-top performance. And you may say, again, this is sort of a comic booky film. It's not meant to be taken as seriously. I don't think that's a valid excuse, because you have something like Shazam, which is also more comic booky, more lighthearted, and it still manages to do both at the same time. And this film does not really. I think the over-the-top premise, and especially this over-the-top character, are too over-the-top. Just sort of reference, I don't hate the premise of making dreams come true, because again, that is sort of a comic booky thing that I don't inherently, not something that I'm opposed to, especially if it's executed well. Of course, it is a pretty cringe idea, but I imagine it can be executed well, with the film sort of making fun of itself in that plot line. But when you have, again, Max Lord making everyone's dreams come true through this experimental TV program, it gets on a ridiculous level that I cannot follow the film to. So again, I don't have, you know, a ton to say. I think since it's relatively recent, again, a lot of people have already expressed their thoughts on this, and mine do not differ too much. I'm pretty in the middle. I don't think it's like the worst DC film ever. I definitely don't think it's the best. I'm pretty in the middle, and I'll say not horrible, despite all of the complaints I made. There's quite a bit of fun to be had here. If it wasn't as long, maybe I would have given it more of a pass, because I just felt like I was, trudging through this. That's the way I would describe it, but whatever I just did. But I felt like I was trudging through it, and there's, again, fun to be had here. But for the most part, it was not a film that I liked, so I am going to give this film a C. Wonder Woman 84 gets a C. Alright folks, so that's my review of Wonder Woman 84. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this almost concludes our DCEU watch-along, but of course the Snyder Cut, which I will be watching. Presumably this comes out the day the Snyder Cut comes out, and that means the Snyder Cut review will come out tomorrow. By the point in filming this, there are raving reviews. Especially with people, even who didn't like Batman vs. Superman, which is me. I fall into that camp. liked parts about it, but didn't like it, actually might be won over. So I hope to God that I will like this film, because I like these characters. I like the Justice League. I like even some of what Zack Snyder does, but neither of the previous films worked. I hope to God I will like this film, and you can come back and check my review, presumably the day after when this video comes out. When you're watching it, maybe it's already out, or it will be out again if you just heard what I said. But I'm EDPC Reviews. You have been amazing, folks. Thank you for watching, or watching my reviews of this DCEU. As I go along, here's the playlist. If you haven't done that, please do that so that the statement I just said can be true. Lots of content in there for you to explore. If you have nothing to do, just put it on in the background, times 2 speed. I already said the outro, so I'm going to do it again. I've been EDPC Reviews. You have been amazing. I will see you